Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to expose an invisible psychological prison. And the crazy thing is, most of us are trapped right inside it without even realizing it. We're taking a deeply reflective look into human behavior to uncover how the desperate need for approval is just silently destroying our individuality, our confidence, and honestly, our human potential. Let's get right into it.
Picture this. It's an incredibly familiar, yet kind of unsettling scene, right? You post something online. You set the phone down. 10 minutes pass, then 20. You pick it back up and check the likes again. You sit there, literally watching your mood rise and fall based entirely on invisible digital signals from absolute strangers. It's such an ordinary moment, but beneath it lies this profound, deeply intense psychological reality.
Because in that moment of waiting, a whole flood of subconscious questions just races through the mind. Did people approve? Did anyone react? Did I say the wrong thing or look stupid? Without even realizing it, we are slowly outsourcing our entire identity to other people. We're trading our self-respect for their validation, measuring our worth by their fleeting attention.
It's wild, but most people spend their entire lives carefully shaping themselves into these highly edited versions that offend absolutely nobody. They're completely unaware that this approval-seeking behavior, this desperate need to be accepted, validated, admired, and included at the expense of their true self, is completely destroying their potential. It's a modern psychological prison, not one made of walls or chains, but one constructed entirely out of the desire to be liked.
So how do we get here? Let's move into part 1, the engine driving this, biology and digital weaponization.
You see, our intense fear of judgment isn't just some personal weakness. It's actually an ancient tribal survival instinct. Think about it. For most of human history, rejection from the tribe literally meant starvation and death. Fast forward to the present day, and your nervous system hasn't updated its software. It still reacts to criticism as a literal threat to your survival. And in our digital era, modern society continuously weaponizes this ancient fear against us.
Social media essentially took this ancient survival mechanism and turned human psychology into a performance economy. It's a 4-step loop. Step 1, you post something online. Step 2, you receive validation metrics. Step 3, you experience a sharp dopamine spike. And Step 4, over time you develop a deep emotional dependence on that external approval. Human worth has become publicly quantified, creating this dangerous cycle where we optimize ourselves for applause instead of actual growth.
And the real tragedy here, over time we stop asking, what do I genuinely believe? And we start asking, what will people approve of? We literally stop seeking the truth. We quietly destroy our individuality because the fear of negative feedback becomes overwhelmingly stronger than the desire for authenticity. We just abandon our true thoughts to stay safe in the algorithm of public opinion. This brings us to part 2, the agitation phase, which is really all about self-betrayal.
We basically become actors inside our own lives. We develop what's called a curated personality, one that is perfectly socially acceptable, conflict-free, agreeable, polished, and completely emotionally edited. We carefully monitor our tone, our opinions, and our appearance, calculating every single move to minimize rejection at all costs. We become highly adapted to society, yet entirely lost to ourselves.
But here's the thing. Maintaining this false, socially acceptable self requires constant, draining energy. It creates a terrifying psychological split. Up on the surface, you have the curated persona, agreeable, polished, but deeply psychologically exhausted. And underneath is the authentic self, disruptive, honest, and suffocating in the dark. Authenticity requires absolutely no performance, but this curated performance, it takes everything you have.
Every time you betray your own thoughts, boundaries, or desires just to maintain harmony, you are actively training your nervous system to believe that your authenticity is dangerous. Every unnecessary yes you give to keep the peace literally teaches your body that other people's comfort matters more than your own truth. You're conditioning yourself to fear who you actually are. And this is exactly why chronic people pleasers experience such heavy, compounding symptoms. We're talking severe burnout, deep anxiety, a quietly brewing resentment, emotional numbness, and identity confusion. They spend so much energy managing the perceptions of the room that they lose all connection with who they actually are. They end up asking themselves, why do I feel so empty when everyone likes me?
Let's look at part 3, the pivot. We need to talk about the hidden tax of likability.
Here's an uncomfortable truth. If everybody likes you, you are probably filtering yourself constantly. We desperately need to reframe our view of conflict. Friction and criticism are not threats to your existence. They are actual, tangible evidence of your authenticity. You simply cannot be a fully realized individual without bumping into the expectations of others, because authenticity naturally creates friction.
It's a fundamental rule. Every authentic action has a social reaction. Just look at this breakdown. Real opinions, they divide people. Real boundaries, they disappoint people. Real ambition intimidates people, and real honesty unsettles them. The moment you stop performing the role others benefit from, you will absolutely disrupt their expectations and threaten the comfort of those who relied on your compliance.
Independent thinkers expose contradictions. They challenge norms. They make people uncomfortable. And this is exactly why society often rewards obedience more than individuality. Why? Because obedient people are predictable and much easier to control. The price of authenticity is often criticism from a society built on conformity, because refusing to conform threatens collective comfort.
Which leads us to our final section, Part 4, the resolution, the courage to be disliked.
Real growth requires disappointing people. True freedom begins when you finally step into psychological adulthood. And what does that mean? It means saying no without an ounce of guilt, expressing your opinions honestly, choosing authenticity over popularity, and tolerating being misunderstood. But above all, it means allowing others to dislike you without collapsing emotionally. You finally realize that not everyone must approve of you for your life to have immense value. You know, the most dangerous person in modern society is the one who no longer depends emotionally on approval. This level of emotional independence absolutely terrifies systems built on conformity. Why? Because this person can no longer be manipulated through shame, passing trends, peer pressure, or the fear of judgment. They are entirely, completely free.
So, I want you to genuinely ask yourself right now, how much of your personality is just a performance? What opinions are you suppressing? What life would you pursue right this second if you were absolutely no longer afraid of judgment? Remember, true freedom begins the very moment you stop negotiating your identity for temporary acceptance.
There is this incredible, profound, psychological calm that appears when you finally stop over-explaining yourself and stop chasing validation. You become emotionally lighter because you realize a fundamental truth. You were never designed to be universally accepted. You were designed to become fully yourself, even if it means standing alone temporarily. True confidence comes from self-acceptance, not external applause.
I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought. The absolute tragedy of modern life is that so many people are loved only for the fake version of themselves they created to survive socially. Have the courage to disappoint expectations. Have the courage to be judged. Because being disliked is not a failure. It is a required milestone of personal freedom. Because the price of belonging everywhere is so often belonging nowhere within yourself. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.